Hello, sports fans. It is Thursday, April the 16th, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. When I first went to school for broadcasting, they told me never to lead with the NHL. Well, too bad. I am leading with the NHL today. The NHL playoffs have started. The NHL playoffs are very exciting. I think it's a lot of drama, really exciting games. So I am leading with the NHL today. And let's start down in Washington, where the New York Islanders lay it on the Washington Capitals 4-1. Islanders take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 series. Islanders take home ice away from Washington. Great job by the Islanders. They played a very, very good road game. Great job by them. I have to get to the Capitals, though. What in the world are the Washington Capitals doing last night? They looked like they were in a fog. They were out of it. No life. They looked like a dead carcass. They got a huge break just having home ice. The Islanders could have had home ice in this series if they would have won their last game. The Islanders lose their last game of the season. That gives Washington home ice here. And this is how the Capitals reward their fans with this type of performance. And year after year after year, you see the Capitals doing this. They always fall short in the playoffs. This has been going on for decades with the Capitals. They can never win a Stanley Cup. And what about Ovechkin? I always hear people criticizing Crosby all the time. Crosby has a Stanley Cup. Crosby's won 2 gold medals for Team Canada. What has Ovechkin won? What has Team Russia won with Ovechkin playing for them? I mean, what a terrible job by Ovechkin in the Capitals last night. And I don't want to put this all on Ovechkin. I thought the goaltending was terrible. I thought Washington had no life from top to bottom. They gave their fans nothing to cheer about last night. The fans were all decked out in red. They were ready to go. And Washington ends up tying the game at 1-1 at the end of the first period. The Islanders have a bad giveaway. Washington scores to make it 1-1. They go into the dressing room. You figure they're going to come out flying in the second period. The second period is all Islanders. The Islanders dominate the second period, dominate the rest of the game, and the Capitals were flat as a pancake. I could not believe how pathetic Washington played again last night. Here we go again with them in the playoffs. They seem so tight in the playoffs. They can't get over the hump. And once they fell behind that second period 3-1, you could see the Capital fans. You could see it. They're like, here we go again with this team. The shoe is about to drop. I mean, here we go again. The Capitals are going to come up small in the playoffs again. You could see the writing on the wall already in this series. I'll tell you what. Washington better win the second game on home ice, because if they don't, this series is already over. Because I told you, the Islanders are going to be flying at home at the Coliseum. This is the last year they play at the Coliseum before they go to Brooklyn. The fans are very into it around here in the New York area. I mean, the ticket prices are very high for these last few Islander games at the Coliseum. The Islanders will be flying at home. So the Capitals better win Game 2, or else this series is going to get out of hand in a hurry. I was shocked at how bad Washington played last night. Listen, you lose a riveting game 4-3, you lose an overtime. Hey, I understand that. The Islanders had a good season. These are 2 equally matched teams. But to have this type of performance on home ice where you lose 4-1 and show no fight, no life. The goaltending was atrocious. Ovechkin, where are you again in a big spot? You could sense it in the crowd. The Washington fans are like, here we go again. This has been going on not only year after year with Ovechkin. This has been going on with the Capitals for decades. They can never win a Stanley Cup, and they have had big-time teams. They're in the playoffs every single year, and they always lay these type of performances on you. A complete dud last night by the Capitals. Terrible job by them and Ovechkin last night. They better win Game 2. Give the Islanders all sorts of credit. They now have home ice. They're in the driver's seat right now. All right, so that was the Islanders-Washington series. As far as the 3 other series, Montreal at home hung on and beat Ottawa 4-3. Montreal takes a 1-0 series lead in that series. This was a wild game. The second period, it was like, how many goals in like a 4-minute span? It was like goals left and right in this game. For long stretches of this game, Ottawa outplayed Montreal, but Price was great in net for Montreal, so Montreal hangs on. I think this is going to be a long, good series. Could go 7. Montreal up 1-0. How about Chicago last night? Chicago goes into Nashville, falls behind 3-0 in the first period. Chicago pulls their goalie. And what happens? The Blackhawks rally to tie the game, and the Blackhawks win it in double overtime. Blackhawks win it 4-3 in Nashville. Blackhawks take home ice. What a win for Chicago. They're down 3-0 on the road, and they already benched their goalie, and they come back and win. They are a gritty team, Chicago. They can definitely get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Here we go again with Nashville. I mean, they were floundering at the end of the year, and they really had to have this game. You're up 3-0 in your building at the end of the first period, and Chicago's already pulled the goalie, and you don't score the rest of the way. Terrible loss by Nashville. Chicago is going to win that series. And the late game last night, how about Calgary? Calgary is a great story. They go into Vancouver and beat the Canucks 2-1. Calgary takes a 1-0 lead. They also take home ice. By the way, in 3 of the 4 games, the road team won. We see that all the time in hockey. It's not like the NBA where the best team always wins. Best team always wins at home. Hockey, you can have teams winning on the road. An 8 seed can win the cup. You saw that with the Kings last year. How about Calgary? They're down 1-0. They get 2 goals in the third period. They get 1 goal really late in the game, and Calgary steals this game from Vancouver. Calgary is a great story. No one thought they would be in the playoffs at all this year, including me. I never saw this coming. Great job by them. I was a little surprised Vancouver did not start Miller in goal. I know Miller was hurt down the stretch of the regular season. He did get back, but they went with Lack. Vancouver. I was surprised about that. Now, he played well. He only gave up 2 goals, so I don't want to put this on the goaltending, but I thought Miller would get the start, but this was not about the goaltending. Vancouver on home ice has to get more than 1 goal. Very hard to win an NHL playoff game when you only score 1 goal. Great job by the Calgary Flames. They are becoming a very, very interesting story in the NHL. I expect that series to go a long way as well. So that was your NHL hockey last night. Of course, you got 4 more games tonight. To me, the NHL hockey playoffs is great. It's outstanding stuff. I mean, last night you had 3 one-goal games. You had a double overtime game. The Montreal-Ottawa game was really good. The Calgary game came right down to the end. Really, really great stuff last night. Out of the 8 teams that played last night, I thought 7 of them played pretty well. The only one that didn't, the Washington Capitals. Hey, Capitals, get it together in Game 2. That's your NHL. NBA came to a close as far as the regular season last night, so we will start the playoffs in the NBA Saturday and Sunday. The Brooklyn Nets do make the playoffs. They beat Orlando. Indiana lost to Memphis, so Brooklyn does make the playoffs. Here are your matchups in the East. And remember, unlike the NHL, the NBA has set brackets. The NHL reseeds after the first round. The best team always plays the worst team. The NBA has set brackets no matter what happens. So here we are in the East. The East, the 1 versus the 8. 1 is Atlanta. They will host Brooklyn, who is the 8th seed. You expect Atlanta to get through there. Brooklyn did not impress me at all down the stretch. They did make the playoffs, but I expect Atlanta to win this series. So the Atlanta-Brooklyn winner will play the 4-5 winner, which will be Washington and Toronto. Washington, the 4, they will have home court. That is a very interesting series. To me, that is a flip-of-the-coin type series. I mean, I could see that series going either way there. I mean, I could definitely see Washington winning. I could definitely see Toronto winning. Very, very interesting series there. Washington and Toronto. I could go either way there. So the Atlanta-Brooklyn winner will play the Washington-Toronto winner. And as far as the bottom half of the Eastern bracket, the 2-7 matchup, you have Cleveland and Boston. Cleveland, of course, with home court. I'll tell you, Boston played very well down the stretch. When they got Thomas, he really ignited them. Boston also beat Cleveland a couple times at the end of the season. Now, I think Cleveland's going to get through, but Boston may give them a tussle, but I expect Cleveland to get through. The winner of that series will play the winner of the 3-6 matchup between Chicago and Milwaukee. Chicago at home court there. I would think Chicago would get through and beat Milwaukee. Hopefully Derrick Rose stays healthy. I'll tell you, in the second round, if we get it, Cleveland-Chicago. That would be an amazing second-round series. I mean, that would be a great second-round series. I think we're going to get it. Those are your Eastern Conference matchups. As far as the West, New Orleans makes the playoffs. They win last night, so they knock Oklahoma City out. Hard to believe Oklahoma City didn't make the playoffs, but remember, a lot of injuries. No Ibaka, no Durant. Oklahoma City's got to get healthy next year, and Ibaka's got to up his game. So the 1 versus 8 matchup, Golden State the 1, they will host New Orleans. New Orleans with Davis is a great story, but Golden State's going to be way too much for them. I expect Golden State to get through there. The winner of that series will play the 4-5 matchup. That will be Memphis and Portland. Memphis has the home court there. I don't know where to go in that series because there's a lot of injuries on both sides. Portland's all banged up, and Memphis is banged up too. Conley is going to play, but he's been banged up. Gasol's been banged up. Portland has all sorts of injuries. Matthews went out for the year. Aldridge has been nursing an injury. Batum is hurt. You got a lot of injuries on both sides, so that's a flip of the coin type game. So like I said, the Golden State New Orleans winner will play the Memphis Portland winner. On the bottom half of the Western bracket, it'll be Houston and Dallas, a battle of Texas. Houston is the 2, Dallas is the 7. Houston did a nice job getting up to the 2 seed. They do have Howard back healthy. Of course, Harden has had an amazing year. He's up for the MVP. So I would expect Houston to get through here. I don't love this Dallas Maverick team. I think Houston gets through with their home court. The winner of that series will play the 3-6 matchup. The Clippers are the 3. They have home court, and they will play the San Antonio Spurs, who fell to the 6. The Spurs lost to New Orleans last night. Could have had, I think, the 2 seed. They fall all the way down. They could have had the 2 or the 3, I think. They fall all the way down to the 6. But you know San Antonio. San Antonio can win no matter where you put them because they can take their show on the road. A lot of experience. They're a dangerous team. I was thinking about this last night. The Clippers, the last team they wanted to see in that 6th spot was San Antonio. They would have signed for Portland. Give us, who else? Memphis. They didn't want to see San Antonio here. This is the worst possible matchup in the world for the Clippers. Now listen, the Clippers eventually got to put up or shut up. Blake Griffin's got to, do it in the playoffs. They have Chris Paul. They got the big man in the middle. Doc Rivers is a solid coach. They have home court. They're a young team. They have to find a way to somehow beat the Spurs here. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Spurs are going to beat the Clippers despite not having home court. I think this is a terrible matchup for the Clippers. The Clippers are sitting there going, we had a great season. We finished with the 3rd best record in the West, and you give us San Antonio in the first round. Are you kidding me? Clippers, put up or shut up time. You got to eventually start to win these type of series. I know it's asking a lot. You do have home court. Find a way to beat the Spurs. Now, I'm not a believer. I think the Spurs are going to bounce the Clippers, and that will be a bitter end to this year for the Clippers. Being the 3 seed in the West, they've had a tremendous year to go out in the first round, and I think it's going to happen. I think the Spurs are going to bounce the Clippers. All right, so there we go. Like I said, Houston-Dallas winner will play the Clippers-San Antonio winner on the bottom half of the Western bracket. So you should have a lot of interesting stuff in the NBA. I'll tell you, the Western Conference, Memphis-Portland is intriguing. Clippers-San Antonio is intriguing. You get up to the East, Washington-Toronto is a very good series. And then if you look to the second round, Cleveland-Chicago, which I think we're going to get, is going to be absolutely tremendous. And then maybe we get like a San Antonio, Houston second round. You're going to have some really great basketball in the NBA. It starts on Saturday. Make sure you check it out. All right, so that's your NBA. Major League Baseball, I have been keeping an eye on it. Like I said, we have eons of time to go. We got 6 months of baseball to go. Real quick on the baseball, Red Sox look like a really good team. They're 6-3. They look much improved. I think it's going to be a long year for the Yankees. They're 3-6. They're in last place. That's a tough division. Could be a long year for the Yankees. First time we've seen a Yankee team maybe this bad. They don't look all that good to me at all. Detroit continues to roll at 8-1. Kansas City, same thing, 7-1. Seattle, 3-6, and Cruz is hitting home runs left and right, but Seattle can't win a game. The Dodgers swept them. Cruz is hitting home runs all over Dodger Stadium, but the Mariners can't hang on to a lead against the Dodgers. Dodgers sweep them away. Mariners off to a disappointing 3-6 start. National League, Atlanta and the Mets doing a nice job at 6-3. Washington, very disappointing, 3-6. Every single year, Washington gets off to a bad start. Again, they are doing it this year. Cubs, 5-3. They could be improved. Colorado at 7-2. I'll tell you, look at the Colorado lineup. They got about 6 guys in that lineup that could hit 20 or more home runs. Got to keep Tulowitzki and C. Gonzalez healthy. That's always a question. And how good is the Colorado pitching going to be? You never know. But their lineup is really good. They're 7-2. Dodgers 6-3. You expect them to be there. San Diego 6-4. I think they will be improved. Giants off to a sluggish start. 3-7. A lot of injuries for the Giants. A lot of turnover. Lost some players from last year's, the World Series run. But still, you never count out the Giants. But that division is very, very improved. Giants off to a sluggish start at 3-7. All sorts of time in baseball. I am keeping my eye on it, but there is just way too long to go for baseball. Baseball, to me, is way, way too long. I mean, you realize the season goes to almost November. That's absolutely ridiculous. So that is your Major League Baseball. Of course, we had the Aaron Hernandez stuff yesterday. I mean, you can't be surprised by the verdict. You know, when this story first came out and we heard all the evidence and what was going on, you kind of had a feeling you were going to get what you got yesterday. To me, just a terrible waste of lives on so many levels, and over what? A terrible, terrible waste of lives. Aaron Hernandez has a $40 million contract with the Patriots, the best team in football, and it comes down to this with him. And my thoughts are with the victims, and just a terrible, terrible story, and just a senseless waste of life on so many levels, and over what. So I think you got exactly what we thought we were going to get. I think the jury got it right. It was hard to believe the defense's case. The defense then changes their story right at the last minute. They say Hernandez was then at the scene. They were saying in the beginning he wasn't there. They change it. The jurors said Kraft's testimony was powerful, where Kraft asked Hernandez where he was. Hernandez said he was at a club. He wasn't at a club. To me, it was very hard to believe the defense's story, and I think the jurors got it right. And like you heard the jurors talking last night, hardest thing they've ever had to do in their life. Not easy at all. Terrible, senseless waste of lives, and over what. Terrible story. Also, Monday is the Boston Marathon. You know, this is the 2-year anniversary of another terrible, senseless story. I mean, of course, it's the 2-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings. Of course, we'll wait for the sentencing in that. We've had the verdict already. They found him guilty, but, what's the sentence going to be? That should come in the next few weeks. So the Boston Marathon on Monday. I have been watching a lot of stories on the Boston Marathon survivors and the victims. Ben Affleck and Tom Brady were narrating a story. I believe it was on ESPN. I'm sure you could catch it on replay, about what the victims are still going through 2 years later, where the one guy lost one leg, he's still battling to keep his other leg, and the struggles of everyday life, people that lost limbs, people that lost legs, and you hear from those people, they think they're the lucky ones because people died in this. So another just senseless act ruined so many lives, and over what? So the Boston Marathon on Monday. Make sure you check out all the stories over the weekend on all the survivors and what they're going through as we wait for the sentencing, which should come up in the next few weeks in that case. I mean, just a terrible, terrible, terrible story. All right, so that's where we are as far as the sports world. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Remember, NHL playoffs tonight. You got 4 big games. Make sure you check it out. We'll see if the Penguins can show some life tonight. I expect the Rangers to wipe them out. We'll see if the Penguins can do anything. They stumbled and bumbled down the stretch of the regular season. We'll see if they can get anything done against the Rangers, and you have a bunch of other series as well. So you got wall-to-wall NHL hockey tonight. Of course, you got your Major League Baseball. NBA starts on Saturday. I will be back with you guys Monday. We'll recap it all, recap all the NHL, all the NBA. We'll touch on MLB. Anything else that comes on up in the sports world, we'll do it on Monday. You guys, thanks as always for the support. You guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. Enjoy the games. Thanks again for the support. I will talk to you on Monday. Take care.